Dobry den,
Zdravejte!
and welcome back to our little Bulgarian adventure.
We're approaching the end of February and we've got some really lovely weather.
We have had lovely weather all week, but we're into double figures today, I think.
We are, and next week we're not due any rain.
No.
Okay.
Excellent.
So we're going to make the most of it, do some work outside as well as the work inside.
Yes, we finally took down our leaning tree this week.
We're not showing you that because, like I might have mentioned previously, it was a bit scary.
Yeah.
Health and safety would have been on our backs for that one. So.
But it is now no longer leaning over our roof.
No.
And we only lost a couple of tiles on the top of our wall, which got caught by the odd branch, which luckily we had a few replacements for, so no real damage done.
No, and a job ticked off that needed doing.
Yeah, definitely good to get that one out of the way.
Yes, so we've been just generally bits of tidying up around the woodlands and around the garden and things. You had a fire yesterday, didn't you?
Yes, all the walnut leaves.
Yeah.
Which we have many.
Many.
I don't think they're that good for compost, so we don't put them in the compost.
No, so they get burnt along with little sticks, rotten bits of wood, that sort of thing.
Yeah, just general tidying up, but all the daffodils are starting to poke their heads through.
They are. Spring is rapidly approaching.
So it's all getting quite lovely out there.
Inside, we've carried on doing the spare room. I got to play with my paint spraying gun with interesting results. This is what we've done. I'm finally ready to paint the walls. I'm going to be using the spray gun here, as I said last week, but there's a few things I have to bear in mind when I'm using it. And first is how thick the paint is. The paint has to be a certain viscosity or thickness to go through the gun properly. Too thick, it'll clog the gun up. Too thin, it'll just run down the walls, it won't be any good. So first things first, I've got to prepare my paint to go into the spray gun. This is the paint we're going to be using. It's just a white matte paint. It's quite a cheap one. We're using this for the first couple of coats just to try and cover some of the red before we start with some more expensive paint. We know from experience that this paint goes on a bit strangely. It seems very, very clear as you put it on the wall, and then it whitens up as it dries. Also, it's sold by weight rather than by the volume, so rather than being 8 litres, this is 8 kilograms of paint. So I don't know what that is in litres. What I'm going to do first of all is give it a good mix around and see how thick it is to start with. I've put a litre white paint into the second mixing tub that I've got here. You can see the marks on the side. The first mark there is 1 litre, the second mark is 2 litres. Now what I want to do is gradually add water, 100 ml at a time, until I get to the right viscosity of the paint. Then I'll know for this particular brand of paint, I have to mix however much water with however much paint to be the right thickness. So that's the paint in the gun now, all plugged in, ready to go. Let's find out together how well it works. This is the next day after the first coat using the spray gun in the spare room here. Now, you're looking at the finish of the first wall. The big red line that runs across the very centre of the wall there is quite well covered. I'm pleasantly surprised with how well the first coat has gone. The paint, as suspected, went on almost without colour, and once it's dried the white has come through, which I don't understand how this paint works, but that's what it does. So I have to say I'm pleasantly surprised with the finish I've got. One thing that is highlighted through this mist coat is where I haven't done the plastering, and you can see the joins on the wall between previous plasterings and bits we haven't filled in properly. So that's my job today. I've got to plaster over the, well, imperfections. It doesn't have to be a perfectly smooth finish, it just improve what's there. So that's what I'm going to do. I have checked, I can plaster directly over fresh paint as long as the paint's dry. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. This is the section you just saw me plastering. Now that the plaster has dried, when it was in the process of drying, I rubbed it over with a damp sponge. It's taken some of the marks out. But just to finish it off before painting again, I'm going to give it a quick rub down with some sandpaper. You don't need to see that. And then I'll put the second coat on. Once we've done that, we can judge just how well we're doing and how well the spray painter is working. I don't know how well this shows up, but the area above the door has been painted with the second coat, whereas to the left of that hasn't. Now you see where the paint goes on, the wall actually gets greyer rather than whiter. This is why it's a bit confusing with this particular paint, but we'll let it dry up and see how it looks. So this is the result we have after 2 coats of the thin paint. It's come out remarkably well. You can see this here was red, this was the white bit, and this is where I did the plastering and sanding in. And it's good enough for our purposes at the moment. At some point in the future we may plaster the wall, may thin out, we probably won't. But we're happy with this finish. I'm going to put a second coat of white, or a first coat of proper white, over the top. And not only the wall's done, we may give them another coat when we do the ceiling, but for now, that's that. This afternoon, we hopefully go and get the tiles. So next week, I'll be tiling the floor. Yes, it's going to be interesting to see how well the gun works with proper paint. This Mephisto paint is very strange stuff. You get a nice finish at the end, but it's very unsatisfying when you're using it.
Yes, it does. It tends to look a lot worse before it looks better.
And it's quite disheartening, and then you get up the next morning and oh.
Yeah, it's all right.
So, but we're going to be putting a more expensive or better quality paint over the top. The Mephisto stuff isn't properly washable, so we might put something on the, not that the spare room should get dirty.
No, so, I don't know if we need to. Looking at it, I think it's coming quite well.
As you can see, this is an ongoing discussion. As most of our renovations are. But yes, we'll see. I've got some paint. If I can squeeze in a quick coat of paint, it doesn't take long with the gun.
No, it is much quicker.
It is much quicker, and also until we've actually physically got the tiles here, I can't tie them. So.
But talking of which, we are probably going to go and see if we can get some today.
Yes, we found a place in Tigerishti. It's called Lucifer. It's fantastic for tiles.
Yeah, had a lot more range than we were expecting. So.
And a lot cheaper than the big chains and
Big
DIY
box
places.
stores.
So
Well, not a lot cheaper, but cheaper. I
certainly
think.
cheaper, yeah. So yes, if you're looking for tiles and you're in the area, it looks like the place to go. We'll let you know more about it next week once we've actually got the tiles.
Yes, we may even take some footage.
I'll give it a go. As long as they don't tell me off.
And tomorrow is Palamatsa.
It is. It's the last Saturday of the month, which means Palamatsa Trading Day. All indications are it's going to be quite a busy one. So we'll know when we get there.
Yeah.
We are planning on going unless anything untoward crops up. A couple of months ago, the car broke down.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping you'll know if we're not there, something's happened.
Yeah, but we are planning a trip over there tomorrow, just
So-
to catch up with people and have a look around.
And if you see us, come and say hello.
Yeah, definitely.
Is there anything else, hon?
No, I think that's it, honey.
Yeah, well, that's about it this week. We've been doing, like I say, just pottering around here, moving things along gradually and waiting for the weather to get better.
Yes, I mean we thought we'd be further ahead with the painting, but I think because the temperatures were quite low at the beginning of the week, it was taking quite a long time to
Yes.
dry out in there.
And also doing the extra bit of plastering. Had to let that dry as well. So we're at that stage where I have to wait for stuff to dry. So, and if it's nice outside, I can get on with work out there. If it's not, then I don't. So I think that's probably about it for us this week.
Yes, and until next week,
It's time for us to say,
stay safe.
be well.
Dos Goro.
Dos Goro.